Yeah, the Honorable Stephen Lecce is Ontario's Minister of Education, one of the most important portfolios in the province. He has the honor of being the youngest Minister of Education in Ontario's history, getting the post when he was only 32 years old.
That's right.
I'm sure that many students in our universities are younger than you, or older than you are.
Indeed.
Isn't it?
And hopefully it inspires them to run for politics too.
It should. He also worked in the office of Prime Minister Stephen Harper after graduation from Western, and he started political work at the age of 13 and was elected to the provincial parliament from the King Vaughan constituency last year. He has served as Deputy Government House Leader and as Parliamentary Assistant to the Infrastructure Minister and to Premier Doug Ford. Today we'll talk about his education file, which I think is a very heavy one.
Indeed.
Welcome to VNN, Mr. Lecce.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, first to start off with, you said yesterday, early this morning, that the deal with the CUPE represented an incremental success.
Yeah.
Can you just clarify that point a little?
Yeah. What I'm suggesting is that all parties came to the table. We welcomed CUPE back to the table after they left last Sunday. We got them back. We created an environment where we can get a deal. We worked in good faith to put students first because my mission as Minister of Education, my singular mission, was to keep children in the classroom today and every day so that they're learning. And I think what I meant by that is that all parties can leave this negotiation feeling that they have seen some of their successes improved or advanced, meaning incremental successes. In no negotiation, no person leaves thinking that the agreement is perfect.
So there could be more things coming up again, or more discussions, or more debates on issues already discussed?
No, the deal is tentative. It's now going to be ratified. That's certainly our hope. But my point is we made progress on some of the key issues for the government, key issues for the union, and key issues for the trustees. All of us can leave with a win-win-win. And for me, the greatest victor, the people who benefit the most, it's not the politicians, it's not the unions, it's not the trustees, it's our kids. And they're in the place they should be
That's what the union says. The union says they were going on a strike for students and their parents, not for themselves. That's a bit of an anomaly, isn't it? Here.
Yes, I mean they may claim that, but unions leadership fight for their union members. Trustees fight for their boards, and the government fights for their students. So we all have different constituencies. Mine are kids in Ontario, 2 million young people, and I want to make clear that I'm going to fight to make sure our investments go to the front line, that we invest in our young talent, and more importantly, that we keep them in class. The union decided by their own admission to really ramp this up, escalate this from a partial withdrawal of service on Monday to a strike on Wednesday. It's unprecedented in the history. But I was resolved. I said, listen, we're not going to focus on the noise, the drama. Get back to the table. And we got them back to the table. We got a deal that's good for kids.
But what about other unions involved in the education sector? I mean, their contracts are also being discussed. So do you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we're starting, in fact, the negotiations with our teachers are ongoing. I would say CUPE started a bit earlier in the process than some of the other unions. We're actively working with those other unions in good faith to land a deal. I want stability. I want kids learning. I want to focus on curriculum updates for math and science, technology. I want to emphasize competencies that young people could take through the journey of learning and bring it into the job market. That's the focus. So I want to create stability, but it takes, as you know, two to tango. I can't do this alone. I can't just decide the deal. I need the unions to come to the table and be willing to get a deal.
But I mean, have there been severe cuts in the education system? That's what the NDP is alleging, that there have been massive cuts and hundreds of teachers across the province have been rendered surplus.
Yeah,
is this true?
That is factually untrue. The fact is we have increased investments in education by over $700 million, net new dollars of investment.
Why is this information not coming out in the press? I mean, the perception is what the NDP says, teachers have been laid surplus. They're mentioning hundreds of teachers across Ontario.
I got to do this program more. That's why. I mean, I've only done it twice, so that's why. But I think we got to get out there more to tell our message and our story. Here's our story in short. We're putting more money in education. We are putting more money in special education for kids with intellectual and developmental disability, more in transportation than any government in the history of Ontario. We announced a $200 million 4-year math strategy to transform how young people learn numeracy. I've installed as a compulsory learning financial literacy so that every child in Ontario understands numbers and finances and how to live within their means and how to have personal budgeting. We're doing all of this, emphasizing STEM, the skilled trades for women. We're inspiring underrepresented groups and newcomers to get into education and get good jobs. We're doing all of this with new money on the table. And with teachers, I will just say that I'm proud. We created a teacher protection plan, over $1.6 billion. That plan has rendered a 99.3% success rate of recalling teachers. So we were told in June and July, big headline, 500 people got the redundancy notice. What they don't tell you is that 499 got hired.
Back.
Or maybe 500. Most boards, including the GTA, 100% recall rates. So I think we, to some degree, I got to take responsibility. We got to do a better job telling people that we are investing in their kids' future. What we're not going to invest in is in waste, in duplication, and we're not going to defend the status quo. I think we got a good system here, but I think we could do better for your children. That's why we're trying to challenge teachers to learn more. It's why I introduced a math test for new teachers. Every new teacher in Ontario has to pass basic understanding of numeracy and math. I don't think that's unreasonable, and I think good teachers want to be better at math. In social sciences and a variety of courses, math is a foundational skill. So all new teachers going for the next generation of teachers.
Are the unions opposing this move?
They criticized it vigorously, but at the end of the day, I know families want us to continue to invest in their kids and to be fair, I think a lot of good teachers out there, they want it too.
So what is this controversy over the class sizes? I mean, it's just I think the class sizes go up by just one student.
This year, well, no, I mean, in fact, less. So this year, the classroom, so just a context, last year classrooms, the average in Ontario was 22. Today, they are 22.5. That's a half person more on average in Ontario. That's today. We're negotiating for the next 3 years at the table. So I'm somewhat constrained from talking about it because we're actively negotiating with those teacher unions. But I can tell you is this, I want to see classroom sizes come down. I want innovative ideas brought to the table where we can, through offsets,
more technology.
Either there's a variety of ways where we can enhance the learning system, but still make classrooms smaller, but still find those savings. Both can be true, and I'm calling on the union, the trustees, come to the table, sit down with us in good faith, hunker down, lock ourselves in a room, let's get a deal, and let's look at any option, viable pathway to improving student success. And part of that is looking at how we can make classroom sizes smaller. That's our priority.
There's also talk that the Doug Ford government caved into the unions. Is that true?
Well, I've only heard that from the union. To be fair, what I can tell you is we achieved our objectives in this negotiation. One of the biggest ones was tying compensation and benefits to 1%. That was a huge accomplishment for taxpayers.
Did they want more?
Yes,
okay.
They did. They wanted much more, and they got. We agreed to 1%. Big success for taxpayers. Another success is absenteeism. There's a high rate of absenteeism.
Yes,
you want to mention this.
Yeah.
The average for education workers is more than 15 days a year. Now that is higher than teachers who work in the same schools, the same facility, the same buildings, not the same city, the same school classroom. How is it that the EA is off more than the teacher and they're working in the same facility? It just doesn't make sense.
But I think that the sick leaves have been maintained, isn't it? That's status quo?
No, not at all. What we have done is we've now provincialized. We've mandated a sick note must be included in order to access
2 days of leave or something?
A sick note must be utilized for the utilization of sick days in Ontario. You need to have medical verification.
Right.
Part of the challenge was when it came to the potential abuses is that you didn't really need it in some boards. It was very disjointed. So now we've mandated across Ontario. We want there to be sick days. Like, look, people get sick. People need to use those days for compassionate reasons. I'm a reasonable guy. I think we all are. But when you see that the utilization is more than 100% than teachers, 15 days a year, well more than the private sector, well more than people could dream of using, it comes down to me saying at the table, we got to fix this. So we did. We came up with a plan that ensures it's there for those that need it, but more importantly, we end the revolving door of staff coming through our schools because of this high level of absenteeism, and we save boards of education money by reducing the cost of bringing in supply teachers.
So in the analysis, do you think that the Ontario education system is in some sort of mess?
I think we've got a very strong system.
Yeah.
We've got a world-class system. I mean, the OECD and a variety of organizations validate that. But I also believe as a progressive conservative, we've got to do more. We've got to challenge. I mean, education is really the central vehicle to success for so many people. It is what can create opportunity. It's what can create prosperity for our economy today and in the future. So I believe in education. I believe in education as a way, as a vehicle to unleash the potential in people. I think we've got a strong system. I just think we could do better. And I think whenever I hear politicians, my critics and people I respect, but the Liberal Party or NDP, but increasingly the Liberals saying to me, why are you changing the system? We can't defend the status quo when you've got more kids when you've got more kids failing their math, grade 6 math EQAO tests, when you've got major issues in class when it comes to students focusing, cell phones distracting from learning, and major issues in a modern classroom. Who can defend the status quo? I'm always going to challenge the status quo because I believe our kids deserve better. So I'm going to push the system. I'm going to expect better from our educators, from our workers, from our students, from our communities, because I believe in the potential of these kids and I want to do better for them.
Is there going to be more focus on trades instead of this arts and subjects which music or
yeah, I mean both can be true. We're doing both, but I think where we're really emphasizing is the trades because we have a critical shortage in the economy. Yes. We have this unusual reality, a juxtaposition of jobs without people, and then we have people without jobs. And yet in this country, both are true. So we're trying to bridge the gap with our skills mismatch that exists in the economy, trying to focus on STEM, trying to get more women in STEM and more women in the skill trades. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math, as you know. And those skill sets are really important in a modern economy, especially in a digital economy where technology and math skills are foundational. We're doing all of that because we know it's good for the economy and also the skilled trades. I come from an immigrant family. My parents were both immigrants from Italy. And, for a lot of them, they wanted me to go to university, they wanted me to go to law school, they wanted me to not go to, go into the trades. But increasingly, I think families are realizing, maybe even especially from ethnocultural families, that these are good jobs.
Good jobs.
These are high-paying jobs. Yes. They're entrepreneurial jobs. Yeah. And there's dignity in them. So I think we need to, all of us, as people who may have come from a different part of the world, or maybe like myself, a son of immigrants, I think we have to remind our young people that these are really dignified, good-paying jobs with incredible opportunity. And I want young people to know that and their parents to know that there's great economic opportunities and entrepreneurial opportunities within the skilled trades.
So all this criticism of whatever you do in the education sector, it's all, I think, a ploy of the NDP to make Ontario orange?
I'm not sure what they're trying to do.
Well, unions are controlled by them anyway.
You know what? I think that in politics, we're always going to, they throw mud, they hope it sticks. Yeah. What I can tell you is that I want to just focus on taking politics out of the class, taking politics out of the portfolio. Parents in Ontario don't care about the politics. They care about the results of their child graduating and getting a job. Those are the two missions I'm going to stay focused on.
Anything else you'd like to talk about your file?
You know what? I think it has been an exciting few months. I've only been doing this for about 3 months now since my appointment. I'm very humbled that the Premier gave me this opportunity. I really believe in education. I believe in the link between education and our economy. I'm trying to take more of a labor focus to the portfolio because I want young people to know with confidence that when they go through the journey of learning, they're going to get a job. And I think right now within the system, the one challenge I've noticed is that we don't have a labor focus. We're teaching skills that don't exist in the job market. So we've got to have a modern lens of that. That's why I'm updating the math curriculum. It's why we're going back to basics in our math. It's why we're eliminating the failed approach of discovery math that the Liberals introduced. Every year they introduced that. Every year since they introduced that, our EQAO math scores went down systematically or stagnated. So I'm really looking at how can we give young people the skills
and there is no shortage of funds.
Well, we've put new money. I mean, there's taxpayers. I think in this province pay a lot of tax. They work very hard. We have the slowest rate of income growth under the Liberals. We have the highest debt, household debt and provincial debt. We have challenges in Ontario, but I'm an optimistic conservative. I believe that our best days remain ahead, and I think we've got to live within our means. But we can grow the economy, we can cut taxes, but by growing the economy, we could expand our ability to invest in social services that matter. And under Premier Ford, to be fair to him, we are doing this. We're cutting taxes to grow the economy, which we're seeing. We're the fastest growing economy in the country. Yeah. No coincidence. We've created more than 200,000 good paying jobs. No coincidence. And by doing that, by growing the economy, we're growing revenues, and we're able to invest $1.3 billion in healthcare, more than the Liberals. $700 million more in education than the Liberals did at the height of spending. And it shows that we're committed to protecting those services that matter most to your family.
What about the university issue? That's been bubbling for some time in the Brampton area, that you cut funding for the university, won't allow the startup of a university here?
Yeah, we've seen population decline in universities over the past few years, whereas we've seen colleges grow, and yet there was a plan on the Liberals to expand universities, even though enrollment is down. What we did do, though, is we cut tuition. And I think by cutting tuition by 10%, about averaging for a family at Ryerson, a kid at Ryerson or a student at York, U of T, let's just take an average of it's about $1,000 per year in savings. For a family, and certainly for a young person, $1,000 every year for the course of their degree is a lot of money in their pockets. We're the first government in a generation to cut tuition. Tuition is the highest in the country under the former Liberal government, and it was Doug Ford who's made it a bit more affordable for young people. We're doing that because we believe we want to increase access and we want to increase affordability of education. But the first principle is making it affordable in its existing locations. Right. And once we balance the budget, we're always open to looking at how we could expand post-secondary infrastructure.
International students, do they come under your ministry?
For college universities, no. Colleges and universities is another profile. I have childcare, and I have kindergarten to grade 12. But
which ministry is that now?
His name is Ross Romano.
Does it overlap with yours?
We do work together. There's a lot of synergies between it, but it is a different portfolio. It's a different ministry, But I appreciate the time. I really appreciate your interest in this.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Lecce. We heard Mr. Stephen Lecce, Ontario's Minister of Education, talk about his portfolio and about the current the deal that has been signed with the unions. And I think you'll be fighting more battles again, because I think the more unions are coming up with things, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
All the best.
Appreciate that.